Alright, so I have added a second battery to my Yamaha SX210. This is a 2018 boat, and this should apply to 2017 to 2020 210 series. It may apply to some of the other boats like the 190s. I'm not sure, don't own one, but it may. I have a feeling they're similar. Some of the upper models come with a dual battery. The 212 series does. So that's why I actually had cut out here for the or a place for a second battery, because the versions above this have it. In my case, I kind of went with it was more of a opportunity, I guess you could say. I got a power wheelchair that had two really good gel cell batteries in it, and I was like, you know what, I could just use one of these. There's some advantage to gel cell. The only disadvantage really to having one in a boat is heat. It will kind of kill them a little faster, and also charging. I'm not going to be charging this off the boat. I'm going to shore charge it with a little gel cell. Well, it's just a battery charger that is capable of charging a gel cell. They're supposed to charge at really low amperage, so I don't want to risk damaging the battery by using too high of amperage on the boat. I'm not sure what it is, so I'm not going to do that. But this, to me, is adding a second battery to these boats in particular is super simple once you really kind of understand how this boat is wired. And I'm going to go through that real quick. First off, I'm going to show you the switch. This is the OEM switch here. That shows that it's on, and of course, turning it counterclockwise, it would turn it to off. On the back side of this, you just have two posts here to hook your lugs to. One would go to the boat, one would go to the battery. Simple. Doesn't matter which side you hook to what. It's just a simple switch. That's it. So on the two battery switch, it's going to have three posts. So the only extra post on it is labeled number 2, and that just goes to the second battery. It's that simple. You take the battery wire off, hook to the 1 on this new switch. You hook your second battery to the number 2, and all the other wires what were hooked to your original switch on the second post go to the third post that's on it. It's simple. So basically, I turn the switch to 1 over here, and I'm on battery 1. Then I turn it straight down, and it's on combined. So now they're in a parallel. So it kind of gives you that extra amps if you kind of run one down or whatever. But basically, I'm using battery 1, the OEM battery, to start, and when I'm actually running the engines. Once I shut the engines off to anchor or sandbar or whatever, I actually switch all the way around this way. Instead of going to off and then over to 2, I switch this way because it goes combined, and then it goes to 2, and it doesn't shut my radio down and it have to restart and all Bluetooth connection and all that crap. So it keeps it all powered on, but I have switched off from battery 1 over to battery 2. So the way Yamaha wired this boat is really pretty basic. You have, it's kind of hard to see here, but there are two big red wires here. Those are both go to both the engines. That's it. They just go to the engines. That's what starts it. That's what gets the boat running. That's what charges the batteries and everything else. Then we have this wire coming off here. It's kind of hard to tell, but anyway, it goes to this fuse. And, well, I'm sorry, actually this one is not wired to this post. I'll explain that in a minute. This one is. Everything on the helm goes through this 20 amp fuse. So if this fuse goes out, nothing on the helm works. No lights, no blower, no horn, no stereo, no connects, nothing. Now, will the boat run with this fuse gone? Yes, it will. You can start and run the boat. You won't have any information up on your connect screen though, but it will run. So this one is actually wired to that third post. So when you switch over to the second battery, everything on the helm is being run through this. You can also start the boat on the second battery and all that too. I'm just saying, I got the second battery solely to power the electronics on the helm and my stereo when I am not running the engine. So I keep my my OEM battery fully charged, ready to start the boat. All right, Now, the other kind of interesting thing, the bilge pump. Now you have another 5 amp fuse here labeled bilge. This is hooked to battery number 1. All right, that's why there's 2 wires going over here to this battery number 1. So the bilge pump is automatic, and it's also manual. So this is the automatic part. So even with the battery switch off, if the boat starts filling with water, the bilge pump is going to kick on and run. And it's going to run on battery 1 until battery 1, either the water stops or the battery goes dead and the boat sinks. But anyway, that's the deal with that. Now, the fuse side here is the automatic side. Like I said, this is the automatic side. The manual side is hooked over here with all the other boat wires that are running to the boat. So, like I said, you pull this 20 amp fuse, even the bilge pump manual switch on the helm will not work. But it will still work automatic style with the sensor and the pump itself. So with all that said, the wiring of this is really easy. The only thing you have to change is, well, actually not change, but add to, is battery cables. And I will say this about the battery cables. I've watched other videos with people making theirs, and making them out of all kinds of different wire. This is where you need to spend a little bit of extra money here. Have these. If you don't have the right wire or the right crimpers and the right equipment, do not make your own cables. Just buy some. There's places you can have them custom made, or you can buy them from West Marine. I would suggest custom made, just so it fits your boat right, and you don't have a bunch of extra cable or really stretching it. I actually had a electrical engineer friend of mine make these for me for free. He had the wire. It is better than marine grade wire, and has some extremely nice lugs on it, and he had the very expensive crimping tool and all that stuff to make these for me. And like I said, this is above marine grade cable, and all you need is 2 of them. You need one, the red one, which would be the longest one that has to run from the positive of the second battery to the new switch. Then you just need a short ground one, and you just ground the 2 batteries together. Now, there's a lot of different ways. I've watched a lot of videos on doing this, and the whole add a battery thing where it figures out which to charge and all that. That may be great for you, and it may be great for some people. But here's the thing, and this is my electrical engineer friend, when I told him that's what I wanted to put on here, he said, why? He said, that's just adding another possible problem into your electrical system. He goes, a switch is a switch. It's not, you're really not going to have any problems with that. But you could have problems with some automatic charging system. So the way mine works is, like I said, I run the boat on battery 1. It starts it, charges that battery and everything. And then when I stop, I switch to battery 2. So with battery 2, I have to actually, like I said, use another charger. That plugs into the wall, that's just made to charge this type of batteries at the correct amperage. So that's the only downfall of this setup. Eventually what's going to happen is when this battery goes out, I will add a marine grade battery back into here and have the 2 of the same batteries. And I'm going to be adding some electrical stuff like an amp and all that for the stereo system. And when I do that, I probably will be, well, not probably, I definitely will be adding a bus bar over here, a fused bus bar. And for me right now, with what I'm running, I just do not need all the bus bars and all that stuff. But again, in the future, this is just basically to get me going. Oh, and one other thing. Like I said, I got this battery out of a power wheelchair. It's about a $250, $300 battery. And the chair had some problems. But anyway, I used the seat belt off the chair to actually strap the battery in, and it worked great. I even using the hardware on it to anchor it to the boat. If you don't have this a place for a dual battery, you will have to make or buy a box to put the battery in to hold it into place. You don't want that flopping around in there. But if you're thinking about adding one to your boat, the chances are, if you just take the simplest route at first, and you can always change stuff later, I think it'll work out really well for you. It's a lot simpler than it looks. Some other boats might be a little bit more difficult, but I can't imagine it. If you already have a battery switch, adding a second battery is really just a piece of cake, as long as you keep it simple. And that's exactly what I've done here. And with the gel cell, it actually should be able to run my stereo for about 4 days straight before it needs charging. So it should last me several outings. And again, I'm not recommending you buy a gel. I'm just saying this was just a matter of convenience for me. I will be changing over to a marine battery later. But anyway, I hope this helps. Or if you're on the fence about adding a battery, I hope this makes it a little bit easier for you and a little less scary than some of the people make it on YouTube.